Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining. I am your man, Rob Westerman, founder of GBP Daily, and I'm joined by my permanent guest co host for this show, Pat Casual, Jonathan Beckman. Want to start off by just getting the sponsor here started, Man Cave Collections. They are a memorabilia site, so be sure to check them out at mancave-collections.com. From the greats of the past, the shining stars currently dominating their sport, Man Cave Collections has what you need as far as authentically signed, unsigned, and game used memorabilia to fulfill your fandom. When it comes to shopping for a dedicated fan or collector, be sure to shop our extensive online catalog for unique gifts for every special occasion, including graduations, Father's Days, birthdays, and more. So, John, how we doing tonight?
Doing good. Just got done with a little high school football practice. We got our first game coming up next Friday, so trying to figure out for what we need to do to fine tune the little things. Dealing with 16, 17-year-olds, you got to figure out what you can and cannot do because you got to avoid those things you can't do. So it's all football for me right now.
That's right. How's the team looking? They going to be good this year? They going to be not good?
Well, really, it's the program has struggled the last, honestly, last 20, 30 years. You and me both going to a different school where we had a lot of success. I went across town after coaching at the school where we grew up and had a lot of success there, but then try to go across town and see if we can find some success there as well. And I think we're going to be competitive. Um,
That's
and we
that's a
got
nice thing to say.
a lot. I think we have a lot of players that have some good players, but at the end of the day, it's about having a program. So you got to have everything work. You're only as good sometimes as your weakest guy. So I mean, I think, like I said, I think we're going to be competitive. I mean, we're going to have a lot of stumbling along the way, but I think it'll be fun. We have a lot of fun guys and a good coaching staff that make it fun to be around.
So you're going to be calling plays, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yep. I will be calling plays. I deal with the quarterbacks right now, but then I'll be calling plays. Kind of how it goes with my vision of football and organized and having a creative mind and whatnot. And I mean, it's what keeps me back going for football all the time.
So let me ask, did you have your quarterbacks that were going to all be in the room all summer long, or did you have one good quarterback that wasn't going to be there, or you didn't
Yeah,
know was going to be there?
they were both there most of the time. One of them actually is a baseball player, so he missed a lot of stuff, but he was our the starter last year for the guys. So I mean, he's kind of a returning starter to a point. So he picks it up quicker than most of the young guys.
Good. So you didn't have any QB controversy like Green Bay did.
We have one right now.
You
We
didn't
both,
have any
both,
no shows.
both guys. We don't have you know, we do have a little bit of Packerland and at where we're at.
Uh-huh.
There's a little bit of, hey, the younger guy might be the way to go now and go into the future. But,
Oh, if you want success, right now,
yeah.
you got
Well,
to go with the veteran. You got to go with the guy the team's used to.
yep.
And if he's back next year, say he's not a senior, maybe he gets held back and he's a lot better. But I don't know. That's kind of what the Packers are facing right now, as you and everybody knows. Um, Dylan, I want to thank you and give you a shout out. You've been here for almost 30 minutes waiting for us to go live. So I want to give you a quick shout out. GB Pack 4230. Thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it. Like we said earlier, we're going to give a $25 gift card to the Packers Pro Shop to somebody that comments, ask a unique question, or just if we see your name in the chat and we like what you said, we're going to hand it over to you. So anything you want to get off started right off the bat, or want me to dive into some of these questions?
No, I mean, I think it's a little bit more exciting right now to watch. Hear a little bit more about what's going on in training camp. I think the joint practices are entertaining for the fans, so it's always kind of fun to reach into there and see
What's going on?
what's going on. What I read was that Rodgers and the receivers were kind of tearing it up against the DBs of the Jets, which makes sense. The Jets are one of those teams that they've been flipping around their roster every year, 30, 40 new guys.
Last year, so.
So, yeah, no, I mean, it should be looks like, you can't overreact in preseason. But at the same time, when you've got
Justin Fields looks pretty damn good.
When you got some of the guys we have on offense in Green Bay, you can overreact just a little bit because they're consistent.
Yep. I saw today Devontae looks like he got in a little scuffle. I know you had said something before we hopped on about
saying one of those guys went at DeGuara and apparently had a heavy hit on him, and
Devontae had something to say. Like I told you earlier, he's not the biggest guy, so I don't know how many people I'd take Devontae in a fight over.
Doesn't matter. He's that alpha dog.
That's exactly. His voice means more than his stature. That's for sure. Yeah. So I had something poked up here from over the weekend. Josh Jackson gets traded to the Giants, which ended up being in exchange for cornerback Isaac Yiadom. Any chance he sees the field this season outside of special teams, or is he a camp body? What do you think?
I saw that he had started 10 games, I think, last year for the Giants. Yep. I mean, that doesn't 100% mean much. I don't know if the Giants had, hurt guys themselves, and, you never know. But at the end of the day, with a rookie, you need to make sure that you have, depth coming in, because you never know if Eric Stokes, he might take a while to catch up to speed.
We've seen during training camp he's been going up against Devontae, which is good. I always see the quote, iron sharpens iron, floating around, which is 100% true. I mean, if he's going up against guys that are not going to make the roster, I mean, yeah, he'll learn some stuff. Maybe the speed's different for sure than when he was at Georgia, but going up against arguably the best receiver in the NFL day in and day out, you can only get better.
Yeah, I mean, and to touch a little bit back onto the Josh Jackson thing, because it can't be ignored. I think everybody that watches Packers stuff was pretty disappointed that Josh Jackson, and us being Iowa guys living in Iowa, and I know you're a Wisconsin fan, but we live in Iowa. Yep. We were kind of hoping that homegrown would show up for the green and gold, but didn't work out.
Usually it does with the guys out of Iowa.
It does.
Mike Daniels, Brian Bulaga. Just a few.
And it wasn't, go ahead. Yeah, it wasn't anything on and off. I mean, it wasn't anything off the field. It was just all on the field. He just, you and me would be texting each other all the time. He was just underperforming.
Yeah, which is just a bummer because it seemed like he was getting interceptions left and right in college. And obviously, like you said, us living in Iowa, we hear about that constantly. Which, when we was drafted, I was excited because I was thinking, ball hawk type of guy.
Yeah, we needed corners at the time.
And if I remember correctly, did he get a pick six in preseason or something his rookie year or something? Maybe his sophomore year.
Yes, he did. And for some reason, I'm just visualizing. I know it's kind of an awkward thing to visualize it, but it was going. If we were watching TV, it was at the top left of our screen. He ran it in from the top left.
Yep.
You have to quote me on that, Ben.
Let's see here. Yes. I just pulled it up. And, Packers rookie Josh Jackson gets first pick six in preseason game number 2. And that was against the Steelers.
Yeah.
So it says here Josh Jackson, the cornerback with the best ball skills in the 2018 draft, fell to the Packers in the second round. Brian Gutekunst picked him 45th overall. And I was excited.
We needed corners.
Yeah, we needed corners. Still, he kind of reminded me of Demarius Randall in the fact that everybody wanted him cut a few weeks ago, and then he gets an interception in practice pretty quick right after that Saturday game where he underperformed very badly. I know we were chatting during the game. I think he was giving up. Interceptions. Me again. You said, "Oh, there's another one." Texted me again, said, "There's another one."
Yeah, it seemed like about 6 or 7 balls were going. Granted, some of them we were in zone coverage, so it's not all his fault. but at the end of the day, when you can't help it, know that it was in his area, to a point. It might not have been his guy at the time, might have passed it off, but it was struggling to see him continuously get targeted. I mean, they were coming at him, and guys were open every time.
Yeah, and
there was a couple times where he had okay coverage, and a good
one near the goal line, you had a pass defended.
Yeah, sometimes you can't defend every pass. Great offense is going to always be great defense, but at the end of the day, there just wasn't enough of it.
I was excited for him. But he's with the Giants now. We've got Isaac Yiadom. Like you said, I'm not sure if he'll crack the roster as far as getting some playing time, if he's just a camp body. I'd seen it and heard it multiple times. They traded one bad corner for somebody else's bad corner.
Which, hey, at least this corner, at least the guy we're getting, he played 10 games last year.
Yeah.
That might
he started them,
That might not mean anything though. Dylan Black says, "How do you guys think Love looked?" I felt like he looked pretty confident and comfortable in the system. I mean, from what I've read, was that if Love ends up not playing well, it's not going to come down to him being too gun shy. Everybody always said he was, he'll make the throws and do that.
Nope.
I mean, technically, I think he did throw a lot of I think he led the FBS in interceptions his senior year in college. I thought I heard that the other day.
I did see his junior year. He got drafted so the year before he got drafted, he went off, had a great year.
Yeah.
And then he came back for another year. Apparently they switched, overturned maybe 7 or 8 starters on offense, new coaches, knew everything around him from what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And he still managed to do pretty well, to have a first-round grade. Everybody seemed positive that he was going to go before the Packers got him, which when me and you were watching the draft and he was
I took a long walk down my street. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Love everything I've been looking to and read is, he just right now he's having a lot of, highs, but then it goes back down. A lot of that is gonna, I know nowadays you just don't see very many Rodgers like situations where guys sit for 3 years and then they come in and they turn into be elite. Mahomes even sat for a year and whatnot, but like everybody wants to play now. And mean, in most credible situations, it's hard to think that. Year 3 is kind of that year that it's do it, make up,
put up or shut up time,
do that. He looked solid. At the end of the day, the thing that sucked is
we're not playing in a live game in almost 2 years. I had seen a bunch where he had last played in the Senior Bowl, come out of college. That's pretty good to me. It's not like he has seen a ton of live stuff in practice anyways. And last year with no preseason or no training camp. So he had, last season to train with the team a little bit. And then this offseason, I thought he looked pretty good, especially at home in front of the crowd.
It's just, everything for us is, don't overanalyze. Don't, it's not, it's preseason. Everybody, I hate to touch on the Bears too much, but, everybody's freaking out about Justin Fields. Was granted, he did play well, but at the end of the day, he didn't even start. He came in I think it was the end of the second quarter. So now he's going against backups of backups and whatnot. And it's just like, it's just a different, it's hard to look at preseason and really think much of anything other than just getting guys comfortable. Do that. It's not it doesn't mean really anything as far as trying to see how good Love will do for us for the future. It's just about getting him reps and, hopefully it's, maybe a couple more years until we really have to see him. But
yeah, I hope so. I don't know. I don't want to put it out there exactly what I'm thinking because I don't know what to root for or hop on the bandwagon, so to speak. Do I want Rodgers to be back next year? Of course, especially if he plays anything near what he played like last year. The offense is just getting clicking. In year 2 and 3 and 4, if he were to come back next year, But at the same time, it's like, well, you got to turn the page at some point. And I don't want to be that guy if Jordan Love turns out to be great in 5-6 years that didn't want him here or wasn't rooting for him because it's not his fault about the situation he's in.
It's hard though when you know that a guy like Rodgers has at least a good.
Yeah,
if he wanted to play, he could be good for another 5 years if he wants to.
Yeah, and what I wasn't really, so I was kind of in the middle all offseason. I didn't want to go one side or the other and say, oh, he's coming back for sure. All this stuff is kind of hearsay.
Yeah.
But
you
then
didn't know what to believe.
I just didn't know what to believe. But then I saw a little snippet of him saying he was about 50-50 on coming back about 2 days before training camp. He had legit thoughts on retiring. That kind of makes me think that maybe playing till he's 45 like Tom Brady isn't really in the cards for him. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I mean, a year or two ago, I would have told you that. I mean, because he literally says, like, I want to play into my 40s, but
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think he's gotten a little taste of, hey, I can do something else and whatnot, and that might be what he does.
Yeah, season of no OTAs or rookie camp that he's got to be around for as far as OTAs.
So Lil Rowe says, I'm thinking the Packers win the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers retires a champion.
I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
If we can't have him, nobody can.
Yeah, I don't want anybody else to have him.
Yeah, we're big Rodgers guys, and we both are love supporters for sure. We haven't harped on him negatively one bit. So we do say we're big Rodgers guys. At the same time, we were big Favre guys, and
had to move on.
You just had to move on, and it worked out. Because just imagine if they traded off Rodgers and we kept Favre for another couple of years. He did have one of his best seasons as a pro with the Vikings when they choked in the NFC Championship game.
Christopher says, I think Love looks pretty solid. Christopher Danielson, a little deep on the drop for that fumble, but after the first couple 3-and-outs, he looked comfortable. Preseason, though, unmistakably valid counterpoint.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like maybe being a little too deep on the drop, at the end of the day, our offensive line played terrible in the preseason game.
Yeah,
that's on the left tackle more than anything. It sounds by the sounds of it, LaFleur was blaming that on the line and not him. The only reason why I can't tell you if his drop was too deep or whatnot, and being somebody that coaches quarterbacks myself, I'd have to look back at what the routes were, because your drops are based on the routes and timing of that. And if everything was short and he's taking 5-step drops, that's different. But he's a professional. I doubt he was doing something too far wrong, just nitpicking stuff at that end. But then what do you think of the Packers trade? Rob and I were just talking about that a few minutes ago.
It's like
it didn't hurt.
Corner for a bad corner. It didn't hurt.
It can't hurt. Like, how can it hurt?
Like I seen before, somebody was saying, we were probably to cut him anyways. So instead of getting nothing for him, maybe we get a quote unquote diamond in the rough, change of scenery type of guy. Maybe he's a good athlete. If everybody says
maybe he's a good
athlete,
maybe he does something on special teams.
Yeah, does something on special teams. And if somebody, granted somebody like Kevin King is injured during the season or another corner, he might have to step in. And having a 10-game starter from last year for virtually nothing, that's a kind of a genius move I might call it for Goody. But at the same time, he made that original pick in Josh Jackson, so it's more like a cover your own tracks or fix your own mistake kind of move, which, sometimes guys don't pan out. I always hear it's like a 50-50 on if first rounders even pan out anyways, which is why I thought it was crazy Julio Jones got traded for a second rounder, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, all that stuff. Well, and here's the thing. Even if Green Bay wins the Super Bowl this year, does Gutekunst sell Rodgers out of King's ransom? And
yeah, I saw Aaron Nego tweet that, and that could very well be the case. I mean, I'd heard.
Hearing the word special teams depresses me as a Packers fan.
It's
Hey, we're all on the same boat as that.
Every kickoff after a touchdown, we get momentum. If we go to kickoff, they bring it back to midfield, and it's like, oh my god!
2 years ago, about in the month all the way into December, about 3 months in, we were on pace to set the record for the worst punt return
average
total yards in the history of the NFL until Tyler Ervin came on and
had a 10-yard punt,
and he saved that because we were in the negative. So that was kind of. And it's too bad that Tyler Ervin kind of didn't really pan out. I mean, he was a good change of pace type guy for us. Yep. He was good and
gadget guy. He worked out really well, but now it looks like that's It looks
like Rodgers and Cobb now with
Cobb, Amari Rodgers, Colin Hill. I had tweeted before the Saturday game, just kind of some things I was looking out for, and the first thing I tweeted was Colin Hill in the pass game, mainly because I had seen from guys like Andy Herman saying he had a one-handed catch in practice, and that just kind of sparked my interest. And when I was up there in Green Bay a couple weeks ago watching training camp, he just seemed like a quick, twitchy guy and just a natural everything. It didn't look like he was thinking much. It was just nice and smooth.
Hey, I'll take another Randall Cobb-like player for the next 5 years.
For sure. And his first catch out of the backfield was the 22-yard touchdown screen from Jordan Love, obviously. And that was great. The first quarter of that game was fun to watch, and then just kind of, offense didn't do much, and it just, it's preseason football. You take everything with a grain of salt. And I watch it maybe differently than some other people. I try to see, who's playing special teams on all the different ones, because those are the guys that are most likely probably going to make the roster. If you see a guy that's on every single special teams compared to someone who's just on kickoff or just on punt return or just a gunner, which, by the way, it looked like on one of our punts, Reggie Begelton was slow to get down there. I'm a Reggie Begelton fan. He followed me on Twitter last year when I was tweeting at him.
Yeah, he's a guy that's on the edge that he has to. Yeah. It's special team because he's not going to make that 6th, 7th guy, however many receivers we have, if they can't play wide receiver or special teams, they're not going to make the roster.
Yep. So I think it's tough. From what you said, I want to, as much as I'm a guy that, I don't like to focus on the Bears or the Vikings, the Lions, but every once in a while it's fun to kind of poke fun at them, and it is a rivalry at some point. So whenever I do tweet something out or go back and forth with somebody, they always come back saying, rent-free this, you're obsessed with the other team or whatnot. And at the end of the day, it's a rivalry. We have fun, and it wouldn't be one if it wasn't for, fans getting back and forth. So you mentioned something about Justin Fields coming in the second quarter. Andy Dalton said today, Justin is going to have a great career, but right now it's my time. So Justin came in the second quarter of the game. I like hearing that too. I don't know if that's quotes taken out of context to try and stir some drama.
When I hear Andy Dalton, I just feel like a 7-10 season.
Oh, for sure.
9 season.
Yep. Which would be nice if he played well those first few games, played solid. We don't play them till after the first few weeks of the season, towards the middle, and maybe we see Justin Fields for his first game against the Packers. I don't know. Is it week 7 or week 9? Let me double check. But either way, their defense is good. Their O-line is in shambles. I had seen their first draft choice this year is having surgery, which is tough.
Their O-line's been kind of –
but it's always been just –
not great for the last few years, to be honest.
So I had asked Aaron Eggo the other day on Packers Daily, who is the bigger threat in the NFC North, Bears or Vikings? And he agreed with me saying the Vikings. Their defense is good. Mike Zimmer's a legit coach. I mean, Dalvin Cook is Dalvin Cook. He's just a monster. Me and you were together watching that Vikings game last year when it was crazy windy and we ended up losing. I mean, he just went off. He's one of those dudes that if he's healthy all year, he could, very well have the most rushing yards. And the scariest part, as Packer fans, we're used to running backs catching screens and then taking them for 50, however many yards to the house, a la the Alvin Kamara's. So it looks like October 17th, we play the Bears in Chicago. That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit of time to kind of let that QB situation unfold, and maybe Dalton's off and running and doing good, and Fields will learn from him for a year, or maybe they're struggling and kind of like have to kind of throw him in there and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Bears, you know what you're going to get with Andy Dalton. He's an average NFL quarterback.
Yep.
For me, what average means is kind of like in that 12 through 18 range. He can be decent, but he's never going to be. I mean, he might have made a Pro Bowl or two, but he's not an All Pro. He's not a top guy. He's not one of those guys you go out and get. He's an insurance policy.
Yep.
At this point, he's just, hey, we don't really have what we think is elite. We just need him to basically be a Band-Aid. That's the way I look at it. He's a Band-Aid right now for Justin Fields' future.
Which hopefully is terrible, but the dude's got legit talent. We were watching the draft together outside on the projection screen, and when they took Justin Fields, I was like, damn, that's a great pick. He's a good quarterback. Yeah. Being a Wisconsin fan, I'd seen plenty of him playing Ohio State, just kind of the buzz around the Big Ten. And when they took him, I was like, okay, that's their guy. And I had heard some things maybe where the Vikings were maybe going to take him right after the Bears pick. Mm-hmm. If I'd have a talented quarterback go to any opponent in the NFC North, I'd rather have them go to the Bears because their history of quarterbacks is, just it ain't good. So we got a comment in here from Christopher Danielson. Did you guys see the shot Rob Demovsky threw in Rodgers' press conference about Bronson? Yes, I did. He said, let's see, Rob Demovsky, can't wait to see what Kafusi, is that how you pronounce it? I cannot wait to see what Bronson does in Buffalo this year. Aaron Rodgers, mid-question, starts sipping his water bottle, laughing, and says, Jesus, Bob. That's funny because we all know Jake Kumerow is looking like a star in training camp. I don't know what else to touch on that. I mean, we got rid of him because, he just wasn't worth keeping. Whatever Rodgers had said anyways to try and get him to stay. He just wasn't the guy. He's an older guy. I'm a fan of him because he was from Wisconsin Whitewater, obviously homegrown guy.
He liked that he was a reliable guy in camp. He was in the right spot, did the dirty work, got laid out for all those catches, and he's like, I just want a guy that's going to go out there and be in the right spot.
Yep. Completely agree.
But yeah, saw the comment. The comment was funny. It was good. It's good to see Bob Demovsky make light of situations like that. It makes it a little bit more entertaining for everybody to watch and listen to. Not boring. And I think
break from the serious questions. And although Rodgers' press conferences are so detailed and so thoughtful, he takes his time in those, which is nice because we don't get to hear from him. He's not real loud on social media. He has been as of recently on Instagram, posting some meditation stories and maybe trying to get everybody on the same page of calming down and just relaxing. But he's not a guy that's on a bunch of shows outside of press conferences, which, speaking of, I hear that Rodgers Tuesdays are back on the Pat McAfee show.
That'll be good. Something we can highlight on here.
I love that, which on Tuesdays is perfect. There's nothing really going on. We're going to hop on. I don't know if we said this in the beginning. We're going to try and hop on every Wednesday. 8:30 is what we're shooting for. Maybe some days it's 8, some days it's 9, but it'll always be between 8 and 9 o'clock. Go for around 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just depending on what's going on. But like today, there wasn't much going on, and we're 30 minutes strong with plenty to talk about. So that Rogers Tuesday on the Pack McAfee show is a gift.
And what we'll do, once the season starts a little bit more, what we're gonna do is highlight, some of our best plays that we like to, around the NFL. I mean, focus on Green Bay, but at the end of the day, it's kind of nice to bring other topics to the table. We'll talk about
NFC North and
NFC North, different things that are happening, throughout the the league and the division, and see where we go from there. Obviously it's a new show, so we're gonna build. We're gonna get across the kinks, see what we want to do.
Yep.
Obviously what helps for us is Lil Ro, Dylan Black, Christopher, guys like you guys in the chat. If you have anything you want to talk about, we can always bring them on too.
For sure.
Have discussions with them, open it up and go and, kind of go from there. But it's going to be a building process. We're going to go throughout the year. But at the end of the day, the whole point is just to talk about the Packers.
Yeah, as two guys living in Iowa, that I could only name, 2, 3, maybe 4 Packer fans that I know. And we going to high school here, growing up here for the most part. I know you grew up in Green Bay a little bit. My family's from La Crosse. We know so many people around here, and still there are just no Packer fans. There's a lot of Bears fans, a lot of Vikings fans, but very rarely any Packer fans, which was okay because during our high school and college years, they've been dominating. So it's been fun to be that kind of outlier. And, wearing Packers jerseys to school and, people didn't like that. And it was fun for us because we were passionate about it. And that's just kind of, why we started to do this. We want to talk Packers with people that want to talk Packers about anything, funny, serious. It doesn't matter. So next up here, I got a quote from the Rodgers presser after the joint practice today with the Jets. He had said, "I don't want a farewell tour. I don't know what's going to happen after this season, but I'm going to enjoy it with the right perspective. If you're wanting Rodgers to return next season, is that a good response, or is that kind of sounds like he's? What do you think?"
It's hard to speculate with him anymore. he is a quote unquote beautiful mystery.
Yeah, and he, like many have said before, every word he says, there's a meaning.
There's a meaning. There's something hidden in it.
There's something hidden,
and you just you just speculate.
I don't know if you're a Prison Break guy, but I'm a big Prison Break guy. Michael Scofield's tattoos. That's Aaron Rodgers. There's something hidden in there. He's always calculating something to where maybe he said something like that to where he knows he's going to harp back on it in 6 weeks or 2-3 months. And, just kind of Mike Beckman, ready up. We're ready up, big dog.
What's that?
So one of those things where I don't know if it's a good or bad response, but like you said, it's hard to speculate. I'm not going to go one way or the other because I've been that way all off season. I'm not going to take something and decide. I'm just gonna watch them in the field kick ass, and along with the rest of this team.
We all agree Kevin King is going to be elite this year. I think I read your troll. I think
I'm reading through the lines there too. All jokes aside, we text back and forth during all the Packer games talking about this and that. And as bad as he's been just as good when he's playing well, which is frustrating because you see the potential up and down.
He just had a horrible NFC Championship game. One of the worst games.
I don't know if you saw my link. There we go. See, here we go. I like that. Lil Ro. That's not a troll, just trying to be positive. That's what we need in this chat and in this group on this show. We'll be talking weekly. Just trying to be positive. That's all we're doing. We're smiling, having fun.
Sign Tebow.
You know? So
That is the troll.
yeah, that's yeah, 100%.
Uh,
I got another one here. You're starting an NFL franchise. Who is your quarterback outside of Mahomes or Rodgers? It's a tough one. If I can include Mahomes or Rodgers and know Rodgers is playing till 45, I'll take him. But I'm also biased, so most would take Mahomes, and that's fine. You keep splitting hairs.
I mean, you're obvious. I mean, I'm going to take a Josh Allen over a Lamar Jackson or a Dak Prescott. But at the same time, I'd like to see one more year of Josh Allen before I would.
Yeah.
But that wasn't.
I'm going Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. I could see that. But I think Josh Allen's proven a little bit more. Obviously,
yeah, agreed.
I don't think he has, proven a little bit more at this point in his career. And here I am talking about needing Josh Allen to prove more.
But my two answers were Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. But there's so many of those guys that are mid outside of Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and maybe Joe Burrow if he ends up being something. There's the Russell Wilsons, those guys that I would take over a lot of quarter. I've always been a Russell Wilson's a top 5 quarterback in the league. And he's kind of coming on the horizon of his career too. And maybe, is he worthy to be in that conversation? Probably. But
I think Russell Wilson's a very good quarterback. That's obviously benefited from a very good organization as far as the he's had a very well built team around him defensively and whatnot. And he's made a lot happen. In some years, they probably should have given him more opportunity. But I mean, I think he sits right where he should, which is kind of like in that range of.
Has the potential to get up to 3 or 4, probably low as 8 or 9 on a bad year, depending on the team, depending on the O-line around him. I'm also a Wisconsin fan, so I think Melvin Gordon's a super badass running back.
I mean, Matt Stafford, to be honest, he has all the necessary skills. Even Rodgers gave him massive amounts of respect. I mean, I totally agree. I think I'm on that board of I think Matt Stafford is a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's been on a really bad team, but I think at this point, he's now at that point in his career that it's put up or shut up with the Rams.
A lot of people have the Rams going far. I see it, but then again, I don't. First year, I mean, maybe Sean McVay can unlock some things. I mean, they don't even really need to unlock some things with him. They just need to kind of insert him and he can make all the throws plus 100 that Goff could. And they got a pretty solid team outside of the running back position. And the defensive line of theirs is stout, to say the least. But they're going to be a threat along with the Buccaneers, along with –
Hell, they come to Lambeau.
Yeah, until they come to Lambeau and it's cold.
Can't touch Green Bay.
Yeah, I get it. I thought the same way last year's NFC Championship game. I thought there was no way we were losing. But we all saw what happened. We got 3 second-half interceptions to get ourselves back in the game, and then nothing happened. I hate to harp on games like that, but we're past it. The field goal was a controversial point all offseason. It seemed like I didn't think much of it because I'm kind of more of a guy that sees so many moments in the game that lead up and that could have changed things, that when things happen at the end of the game that people may think that one thing changed the outcome. I think multiple things are in the game. Do you think –
I think of the NFC Championship game versus the Seahawks, and as much as Brandon Bostic really made that cherry on top failure, there was about 15 failures within the previous 30 minutes before. that.
Yep. So we think exactly the same.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things.
Do you think we could have? First off, you think on third down? Do you think Rodgers could have ran it into that right side? I don't think so.
No,
He
absolutely.
might have been able to run to the 4, 3, 5 yard line, and then it would have been a more.
Pierre Paul was going to track him.
Well, yeah, and then there's so little. Maybe he can hold off those DBs or the linebackers a little more, but the second he starts running, all those guys are going to collapse, and he's not going to plow through. He might have tried, given the situation, to plow through the end zone, but if there's one or two guys there, I don't think he would have made it past the 3 yard line at best. But then that might have given them the inclination, hey, let's go for it. So I don't know if kicking the field goal was the right decision. I personally wouldn't have done it because, hey, whatever. Worst case scenario.
I understand the concept. I just don't. I just wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I would have kept the ball in the hands of the offense and let it go. And go off that. But that's at the point where we have to pass that right now.
On a more positive note, MVS is having a great preseason, a great training camp, which is just awesome to see because me and you both know the potential he has. He was great last year. He had the most catches, tied with Tyreek Hill, with over 20 or over 40 yards, downfield touchdown passes, and he should have had maybe two for sure. Maybe a couple more if he would have held on to the ball. Which he's almost then doubling the next person in 40-plus yard touchdown plays. Last year he had 33 catches, 690 yards, 6 touchdowns. This season.
MVS is great every camp and every preseason. I wouldn't necessarily say that.
I wouldn't say that either. But this season he looks more confident. He's catching everything. It seems like then just the aroma around him seems like he's kind of one of those guys. They sat him the first preseason game. Maybe considers him one of those veterans.
Yeah, at this point he's kind of one of those guys that it's like he's in the position to, hey, it's your starter.
Right. So I think he has a good year. I don't see why he doesn't. He's coming into a contract year. I had seen a lot of things floating around today during camp, during the practice, that they wanted to sign him now for the cheap, and rather than try and pay MVS for a breakout contract. You can't really do both. Lil Rowe, I tweeted MVS is going to be a top 10 receiver this year. Got to get on that bandwagon early. Hey, Lil Rowe, I like the confidence, the positivity. He very well could be if teams are doubling Devontae or put a lot of focus on him. MVS is who they're going to go to next, along with Tanyan, maybe Aaron Jones out of the backfield. But yeah, I completely agree. I won't quite say top 10 just because there's so many good receivers. So many good. I would say that he could be the best number 2 receiver on a team. At the end of the year, we could be saying Devontae and MVS are one of the best combo at wide receiver in the league. I don't know if you think the same.
I just want to see more consistency out of him in the short to mid-range game.
Yeah. Kind of over the middle, kind of, those comeback routes in the end. Let's see, Christopher Danielson. MVS has necessary skills, but he sometimes seems to lack confidence in his hands. There are times when he looks like a top-tier receiver. There are times when he looks like a Clifford Franklin.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I just need a little bit of stickum. A little bit of stickum.
He does. He needs those cutters. You remember those gloves we had back in the day that were just like almost illegal? They could be now, but maybe he doesn't need those this year. And maybe he goes out with no gloves and just tells us all to shut the hell up, and he's got it.
I'd say, what? Give me 45 catches, 800 yards, and 9 touchdowns, and
That's a badass year from a number 2 receiver in an offense where they throw it around.
A lot of weapons.
Yeah, they throw it around quite a bit. So, well, good stuff. I'm going to wrap it up here, and just thank you guys all for coming, tuning in, joining and asking your questions.
Hudson wants to guest speak. Sorry, Mr. Hudson. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, from the stands.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for hopping on. We got a $25 gift card to give away. John, I'll let you and I just kind of, I'm going to put it on you. Read through the chat. You pick one person. You pick one person who wins it. $25 gift card, Packers Pro Shop. The winner, all you got to do is hop over to my Twitter page.
You know what?
Page,
I'm going to say this. I thought Lil Ro was trolling me, but he was just trying to come in here and be positive. Let's give him the $25 for being positive.
Yep.
I thought he was messing with me about Kevin King, but he's like, no, I'm here to be positive.
Yep, I completely agree. Lil Ro, let's go back and throw that on there. Yeah, that's what we want. We want positive. We want interaction. You want to be a troll? That's cool too. We'll hang out, talk, and
hey, I love trolling.
Yeah, nothing against it. So, Lil Ro, if you could just hop over to GP Daily, DM us, and I'll get it figured out. Let's go. He says, "Yep, you deserve it, man." Hop over to my Twitter page, GP Daily, Instagram, Facebook, whatever works best for you. We'll get it figured out and get you that $25 gift card. So, John, anything you want to add before we hop off here?
Just look for us to continue to give a platform for you guys also to speak. We want to bring you guys on, bring guest guys in, talk as well. It's going to focus on us. Playing discussion. But we just want to talk with other people, as opposed to just talking to us. So we'll bring other people into this and
to show for the fans, by the fans.
Yep.
You hear that often, but
interactive with us gives us more talking points. We're gonna have set talking points, but I'm a rambler, so the more opportunity you give me to ramble with you guys is kind of what we want. Taking my daughter to Green Bay for her first game Saturday. Can't wait. Nice.
Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
That should be fun.
It'll be a blast. Not sure you'll be seen at quarterback, but hey, it's all about the experience, especially in preseason. It's going to be
at Lambeau. It's the experience.
Can't be beat. I was up at training camp, like I said earlier, 2.5 weeks ago, just watching practice, walking around Lambeau Field. It's great. So you lived in Green Bay, so you know all about it. So anything else? You ready to hop off here? Then I'm set for all my points. Next Wednesday, 8:30. That's what we'll say now. It could change to 9, could change to 8.
Yeah.
This guy's a football coach. We all got stuff going on, but we're gonna try and be on here about 8 or 9, usually maybe 8:30. So we'll try and hop on. We'll be posting any time between now and then. And just want to thank you guys for joining on, checking it out. Lil Ro, one more shout out. Just shoot me a DM, man, and we'll get you that $25 gift card. So I'm Rob, and for John, we thank you guys for joining.
See you guys.
See you guys.